Some fragrances are forever. Spray Yopo once, it's not just on your skin, it's in your clothes, your walls, your soul. You can move houses, and somehow it'll still be there. But today we're not talking about scents that haunt you. I'm talking about fragrances so good you'll want them to last forever. The type of scents that you will wear until the end of time. Hey friends, Ash here, welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're doing well. Today we are talking fragrances that are eternal. Not necessarily in terms of how long they last on your skin. A lot of these are really long lasting, but we're talking about the type of fragrances that are so good, perfection, you're gonna wear them forever. All of these are gonna be linked in the description below, so feel free to check them out down there. We got a lot of fragrances to talk about, so let's get started right away with this one right here, Mustache Eau de Parfum by Rocus. This is the choice of motorcycle cops everywhere because they have a mustache. Nailed it, yeah. It does not actually smell like a motorcycle cop fragrance though, but they could pull it off because everybody loves how this guy smells. Now it doesn't smell like a motorcycle cop fragrance, but that doesn't matter. They could wear it technically because everybody loves how this one comes across. Really rich, high quality, insanely low price, great performance, and shares a striking similarity with YSL's Tuxedo. Only that one is, of course, infinitely more expensive and harder to procure than this bad boy right here. Benzoin, vanilla, pink, pepper, and cedar, some of the notes in the fragrance. For under $40, this is legitimately one of the best bang for your buck fragrances that you're ever gonna find. That is at least until years down the road when it inevitably gets discontinued, as all fragrances eventually do, outside of like some very, very chosen few. At which point people on eBay will go, now's my chance, and mark that price up to about 300. But until then, nice. The next one I'm gonna share with you guys is Discontinued, and usually I don't share fragrances that are discontinued and very hard to find for good reason. I don't really think that it's appropriate for people who've never smelled it to be like, oh, I heard about it on this video and I have to go buy it for $8 billion. But I do wanna bring this one up because it's one that I still wear, even though it is now gone. It's 1 Million Prive. 1 Million Prive. If this one ever somehow pulled one of those miracle things that happens where it pops up at discounters for whatever, 80, 90, 100, 120 bucks, it's really rare, but sometimes discounters will find like old stock of a discontinued fragrance just laying around and relist it for like a day. But if that happened, oof, I'd be buying multiple bottles. Cinnamon, mandarin orange, tobacco, some of the main notes here. You also have myrrh, you have tonka. It is a little bit like a designer version of Parfums de Marly's Wajan. Very nicely sweet, kind of a pipe tobacco vibe. Good performance as you would expect from a 1 Million. Just perfect for fall and winter time. Like around the holidays, oh, amazing. But discontinued, so you can't really find this anymore unless you want to pay top dollar. Like, what is it going for right now? Place your bets. Man, there's fakes everywhere on eBay. Never mind. So I throw these warnings out there from time to time, but I want to throw it out again. It looks like there are mad fakes on eBay of this fragrance. People selling 100 ml still sealed in box fragrances for 65 bucks. Yeah. Jeez. Guys, stop doing this. $72. Authentic, new, sealed. That's fake. Look at their other items here. Oh, Santal 33, 100 ml sealed. Brand new, $49. What a deal. Guys, if a fragrance goes for $200, $300, $400, people are not gonna be selling real authentic bottles for like 40, 50 bucks on eBay. Just don't do it. Okay, we're back on the saddle. We're back on, let's go. The next one, YSL L'Homme Le Parfum. L'Homme Le Parfum is a fragrance that a lot of people completely overlooked when it first came out. I myself was a little bit whelmed, yes. Whelmed, leaning towards under, not leaning towards over. And that's because it's a fragrance that's not really overly unique in a lot of ways. It's not trying to shake the very foundations of fragrances. It's not trying to push boundaries. It's not trying to explode minds. But what it is doing is giving you something that is enormously usable, very versatile, compliment pulling, easy to wear, and kind of under the radar. Yeah. And really, that goes for most of the L'Homme and La Nuit de L'Homme lines at this point. point. I know you would say, that's not true, man. Everybody knows L'Homme and La Nuit de L'Homme, which most people do if they're into fragrances, yes. But you can just look at what YSL is doing right now, and you can tell they're not really concentrating on that. And that is likely because the sales numbers are not up here, they are more down there somewhere. Instead, they're working on Myself and also the Y line. But back to this one, L'Homme Le Parfum smells kind of like a combination of L'Homme Eau de Toilette mixed with Y Eau de Parfum. So like they took two different fragrances in their stable and they were like, kiss. And then this popped out and it works just as well as you would think. The next one is from Armaf and it is Art du Parfum Abstracto. This is one I've actually been getting a good amount of use out of, even though it's a cologne fragrance. A lot of people would think, oh, well, you can't wear clones because you have so many other fragrances. That's not true. A lot of the clones, like this one, have twists that will make them pretty interesting, especially if you love the fragrance that they are a clone of. So this one smells quite similar to a very popular Valentino fragrance, Uomo Born in Roma Intense. But as I said, there's a twist, and that is coffee. This one introduces a note of coffee into that style of fragrance, so you get that fresh sweetness like you would expect from the Valentino, but then with an additional coffee note that makes it a little more interesting to smell sometimes for me. Great performance, really good for fall and winter time, big compliment puller, and cheap. A lot to love. When you first get this in though, the bottle itself, like this kind of pleather, for me, it was kind of like sticky, feeling kind of gross. The next one is a brand spanking new fragrance, but before we get to that one, here are some brand spanking new codes. Spakin'. Got a code for Lucky Scent that will save you 10% off the website. Of course, there's also the Twisted Lily code that has been there since the beginning of time, so 10% off there as well. That'll cover pretty much anything niche or indie that you want from either of those stores. Then we've got codes for Joma Shop, Gift Express, Frag Flex, and the Perfume Box that will cover pretty much everything as far as clones, designers, or even niche as well, since those are a whole bunch of different discounters. Now the next scent is this one. It is Varvatos XX Elixir. Yes, a new elixir fragrance. It's exactly what everyone's been asking for, I know. Everybody's thought process when they're looking up fragrances, like, man, there just aren't enough elixirs. Don't worry. They heard you. So this one's really interesting to me. It has bergamot and ginger off the top with a little bit of Divana. It's got a really nice, almost sparkling sweet opening. You have rum, geranium, and a tiny touch of iris in here through the mid, so it's got a nice booziness, warmth, and a very tiny touch of that classy iris along the edges that helps make this a very sophisticated smelling fragrance. In the dry down, tonka, cedar, and leather. Again, warm, slightly sweet, very classy, great performance. This stuff lasts a long time, which is not very common for Varvatos fragrances. That's gonna be the immediate thing people jump on with this brand. Like every single release, they're like, oh, I bet it lasts 15 minutes. And some of them, yeah, they don't have the greatest staying power, but this one does. Let's go next with the cheap blue fragrance for the boys, Acqua Essenziale Blue by Ferragamo. Because sometimes all you need is just an easy wearing, versatile blue fragrance that is affordable. That last part's important. This one opens up with the classic opening citrus, lavender. You got bergamot and lemon kind of combining together there right off the rip. It has cedar, tonka, ambroxan as it dries down. It's got like a decent warmth to it as well once you do hit that dry down. It's not like your typical wintertime fragrance, but I'd say you could pretty easily wear this spring, summer, fall. And if you wanted to, assuming that you're gonna be somewhere that's like air conditioned, you could wear it during the winter as well. It's done by Alberto Marias, and it is vaguely in the style of like Dylan Blue. You know, it's kind of in a similar style to that. This is just that type of fragrance that you get when you want something you can wear anywhere, but you don't want to pay too much money, and you want pretty much everyone to like it. Of course, if you don't care if they like it or not, you can wear whatever. You can wear Secretions Magnifique. You do you. The next one is from Maison Asrar, and it is Vision right here, an affordable alternative fragrance to a fragrance that you may have heard of called Pacific Chill. But it is not the exact same as Pacific Chill. This is one of those fragrances that is done with a twist. Also, I'm not a massive fan of like the off-center atomizer here. Reminds me of some of the Prada fragrances from back in the day that had that. In terms of notes, you have black currant, a whole bunch of citrus off the top as well. You have musk as it dries down. Also tea, ambroxan, basil among the other notes. It is strong, way stronger than Pacific Chill. Side by side, this does outperform it as far as projection and longevity goes. But it's not a one-to-one with Pacific Chill. Pacific Chill may have a little more of an emphasis on the fruits. This one has a whole bunch off the top, don't get me wrong, like a big blast when you first spray it on, but they calm down a little bit quicker here, even though the performance is bigger here. This one also might lean maybe a little cleaner than Pacific Chill. The next one, Jean Paul Gaultier, Le Beau Le Parfum. Man, if you are after compliments, after attention, all that stuff, one of the best. Big reason for that, it is strong, it projects, it lasts forever. It has a creamy sweetness to it, but it also has a fresh side as well. Obviously, it's part of the Le Beau line. Good amount of coconut in there. With how popular this one has been, there are a lot of different clones out there. So if you want to pick up a cheaper alternative, there's probably 4 or 5 good ones that you could look up and scoop up and be good with. So Le Beau Le Parfum absolutely crushes. The only drawback with this one, if you want to consider it a drawback, is that this is a fragrance that a lot of times will sell out at discounters, and even when it is available at discounters, they're not marking it off like a huge amount. Now, I mentioned Prada before, and I do have a Prada fragrance in here with the offset atomizer, Prada Amber Pour Homme, which this one has always been a little bit interesting to me in a way, because it had a lot of people that really loved it, but it wasn't massively successful compared to what a lot of other designer houses were putting out. So this one came out mid-2000s, I think 2006. And as I said, a lot of people loved it and still do love it, but it didn't hit maybe quite as hard as some other lines. And so Prada basically went, oh, okay, well, let's do something that's very clean and classy, which this one is, but push it maybe in a more modern way. Prada L'Homme, which they have kind of abandoned at this point also. Hopefully they bring it back. So this one is, like I said, very clean, classy, really well done. It's soapy, it's clean, it's super classy, easy to wear, very, 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 very elegant, great smelling. But as the name would suggest, Amber Pour Homme, there's a little more to it. And actually, when you compare the note breakdown here to a modern note breakdown, there's a lot more to it, just as far as that goes. Neroli, cardamom, bergamot, myrrh, orange blossom, geranium, musk, vanilla, saffron, labdanum. There's a lot going on here. This is gonna be for a guy who wants something elegant, something clean, but they want a little more push behind it. They want a little better staying power. They don't want something overdosed with sweetness. They want everything done in a thoughtful, rounded way. So Prada Amber, still good stuff. Let's throw it to another kind of weird choice here. Limpica Homme by Lolita Limpica. Pretty cheap, about 40 bucks or so at discounters. You could probably find it a little less also, so somewhere between 30 and 40. Pretty nice looking presentation, decently unique fragrance as well, especially nowadays. This one has a good amount of licorice in it. It has anise, sugar, rum, violet, woods, vanilla, and almond. So there's a lot of different things going on in here. It has like a vague reminiscence to the original Le Male, but then with its own unique twist. So again, this is not gonna be your standard, typical daily men's fragrance nowadays. This is gonna be the type of fragrance for somebody looking for something that is wearable, but has a unique flair to it that they also don't have to pay too much money to pick up. 10 down, 5 to go. Let's do these last ones really quickly. L'Odyssée Eau de Parfum by Issey Miyake. I think this stuff is actually really, really well done. It's essentially just a modernization of the original L'Odyssée, the Eau de Toilette. It does have a dumbed down note breakdown though. So you have Sichuan pepper and woods, essentially. That's it. I mean, really, that's that dumbed down. It does though still have citrus in here, just like the original L'Odyssée, even though they left that out of the note breakdown for some reason, which makes no sense to me because yuzu was like the big focal point of the original, but whatever. And if you want to just simplify how this smells, yeah, you can just say the original L'Odyssée with more of a woody aspect, modernized. I think it smells fantastic, really versatile, classy, masculine, without veering into super sweet territory. French Avenue El Dorado up next. This one is sort of a clone fragrance, and I guess it's technically El Dorado straight. This one is in the styling of Ganymede, but it also is gonna remind you of probably 3 or 4 other fragrances that are also kind of in the styling of Ganymede. So just that whole family of fragrances at this point, I guess that's what we could call it. It's riffing on a lot of those. So this one has leather, akigala wood, vanilla, ambroxan, saffron, and caramel, among other notes. It is enormously long lasting. Like, this stuff sticks on your skin forever. And if you're looking for something that is in the overarching style of that family of fragrance, this is one of the better ones out there. Then we got this Valentino Uomo Born in Roma Intense. So yeah, I mentioned a clone of this fragrance earlier, but I'm mentioning this one as well. This stuff just works. That mixture of lavender, vanilla, and masculine woodiness in here in the air is unbeatable. Like, this stuff is extremely easy to wear. People absolutely love it. It sticks around, it lasts a long time, and I think of the entire Born in Roma line at this point, that's the best one. Also, can't go wrong with this, even though I don't love it necessarily, Dolce & Gabbana's Light Blue. Now, obviously they changed it around. This is the new iteration of Light Blue, so if you were to go to Macy's, Sephora, whatever your local store is that carries designer fragrances, this is how it's probably gonna look. It is slightly more modernized, kind of a sweet-ish, salty marine vibe with woody undertones. Lightly aromatic, has a nice classy aspect to it as well. And I have to give it credit, it doesn't go hardcore ultra super sweet. It is just an easygoing summertime fragrance, a staple that has been around forever. And we're gonna wrap things up with Magnetic, the scent Magnetic by Hugo Boss. The scent line looks like probably not getting a flanker this year. So hopefully that's not bad news for the scent line. I will say, if Hugo Boss drops like a new men's line, then this one's probably doomed at that point. That seems to be kind of how it goes. What I mean is, if you don't get a flanker for a year or two and then they come out with a new line. But anyway, Magnetic, this stuff is kind of what the name says. Vanilla and bran. Yeah, bran. A couple of the notes in the fragrance. And this does have a sweet vanilla, but it's not quite as syrupy, I would say, as a lot of the vanilla fragrances have been lately. This one is slightly powdery, but in a really sexy way. So there we go, 15 fragrances, so good. You wear them forever, just like this one. I wanna thank you guys for hanging with me here until the end. Let me know the fragrance that you feel like in your own collection is one that's gonna be there a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades from now. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there, take care of yourselves. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.